Hello. So, today we are going to do something from my mom's files. And when I say my mom's files, I basically learned how to cook at mom's feet. I used to follow her around, and she used to teach expat wives when I was like a little kid, like 4, 5, 6 years old. She used to teach expat wives to make a little bit of a side income for things when dad and her were starting out. So anyway, the thing is, she loved cooking, and she kept files like this. Always files like this. This is her file of Chinese and Japanese recipes, although to be perfectly honest, I flipped through it and there aren't that many Japanese recipes around. And one thing that her friends used to go nuts over from this was her Char Siew recipe. Now, I have made a ton of Char Siew recipes in the past, but really there's just something, I think it's partly because Mum made it, so the memories of this particular recipe really sit at the bottom of my heart. So, what we're going to do is we're going to update this recipe a little bit, and Mum, if you're looking from up there, please forgive me, I'm going to do things to your recipe. But basically, I think it will be absolutely delicious still. This was truly a nostalgic episode to make. And there's my vacuum cleaner, my robot vacuum cleaner. Yeah. Anyway, so a little time for joy. My mum was the kind who really lived, and I mean lived with a capital L, her life. She was one of those types of people who, in the 50s, as a young Chinese lady, used to ride her dad's motorcycle to work. Now, you got to remember, motorcycles in that day and age were not like motorcycles today. They were basically really, really heavy machines, and he had a Triumph 250, I think. So she rode that to work. On top of that, when she was doing her secretarial course in the UK, which, by the way, was quite common in those days because Malaya was a colony, and a lot of people went over to the UK to do courses, teachers training college. And so when she went to the UK, she used to hang out with her friends, and at one infamous episode, in Cambridge, she decides to take a dare for a pint of beer, a pint of ale, I think it was. She stands out in the middle of a high street and chugs the entire thing. So yeah, that's my mum. That was my mum. It was about 15 years ago she passed away. And this particular recipe really is a testament to her because everyone loved it. Now, I think you know that my channel's about joy, finding moments in your day to take a little bit of that joy for yourself. And one of the big ones that I've actually learned to do is literally to stand in the garden with your bare feet, okay, and just ground yourself and breathe. Make sure it's broad daylight, have a bit of sun, and now I'm squinting into the sun, and just breathe. Breathe right down to your tummy so you can see your tummy expand, and count up to 5 to do it. And do this for at least 10 breaths. If you can do it for longer, please, by all means, up to 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Don't get sunburnt, especially me, because if I don't have SPF up here, I am going to peel. So, my time of joy today is just find a moment, go outside, stand on the grass, and take deep breaths, preferably with the loved one up here. This one. Oh gosh, how am I going to show this? This one. Yes, that one. Let's go back to Char Siew. So, what do we start with? We start with 900 grams of pork belly. You can also use pork loin if you'd like. We are going to, and this is my addition because a few months ago I learned this Michelin star recipe from YouTube. Andrew, Chinese bloke from YouTube, can't remember the name offhand, I'll post it below. But basically he uses a rose sorghum liqueur. Now, so sorghum's a grain. It's got an amazing, you want to smell it? It's got an amazing rose smell, but there's a slight tinge of funkiness to it, which I think is just absolutely amazing. I'm not going to use too much. So Mum used to say that I over-alcoholed everything. Yeah. That's what you get for marrying a Serrani, Mum. So, okay, I'm just going to add a tablespoon to 900 grams of meat, but it's a heaping tablespoon. So it should be overflowing. All right. We are going to add half a tablespoon of light soy sauce. This is naturally fermented, first draw. Okay, half a tablespoon. 2 tablespoons of dark soy sauce, the thick kind, the syrupy, ooey gooey kind. 1, 2. Okay, and then about a teaspoonful of sesame oil. Yeah, that's about right. Spirits of my ancestors telling me, I think that's Mum telling me it's enough. Now she doesn't add the rose sorghum liqueur or the sesame oil, but I don't know, I've had Char Siew with it and I actually absolutely love that. We are going to also add 5 tablespoons of sugar. Now, I really should have done this first. I'm going to take a break here and wash this. Always measure out your dry ingredients first so you don't have to go and wash when you need to measure out your dry ingredients. Because it'll stick. Yes. So we're going to wash this and we'll be back in a second. And I'm back with a clean tablespoon and dry. 5 tablespoons of sugar. You can use granulated, you can use fine. I'm using granulated here. 4, 5. Yeah. I can't remember. I might have lost count. That's the funny part. I'm talking to you, learn to lose count. Okay. And a half tablespoon of salt. Little less is always more. Okay. And 4 tablespoons of water. I've actually heated up my water in the microwave so that it dissolves all the dry stuff a bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I've actually put my Ziploc bag into a bowl like this and to hold it because sometimes they do have small little holes, so I don't want it to leak. Here's another little trick. Don't ziploc it entirely yet. Just mix it around a bit. So that if you leave a little bit of a gap, you can squeeze the air out and kind of vacuum it. Now, you see, okay, flatten it out and then ziploc it. And it becomes a lot smaller. And we're done. This, leave it for 6 hours, at least, if not overnight, and then we'll roast it. Yes, in the fridge. Yes, absolutely in the fridge. So there's a little bit of brining going on. There's a little bit of, what do you call that? Osmosis, the scientific term is. It's sort of exchanging bodily fluids. And ta-da! And we're ready to roast this. Now what I've done here is I put foil underneath and then parchment paper. I've heard a rumor that it's actually not that great to actually cook on foil or in foil. So I put this in parchment just to be safe. And because we're only roasting this at about 175 degrees Celsius, the parchment is fine. It's non-stick parchment. Okay, so the char siew, my mom's char siew, she used to roast it open, but I'm going to cover it and roast it closed. Then I don't have to baste it, and at the end we will just baste it on high heat a little bit to crust up the top. So let's do that. Ready? Yep, ready? Yeah. If you heard any chomping or slurping, that was toffee, not us! Char siew. Mum's char siew, but with a twist. I think you'd like this one. Thanks so much. And thank you so much for watching the channel, and please subscribe and like all my videos because it'll help it to grow. Thank you. Bye.